Hello and welcome to the Inside Stylist podcast, where we talk all about interiors with interviews with interior stylists, writers and the big names in interiors, from brands and PRs to artists and designers. I also catch up with industry experts in the know and get them to share all their knowledge and advice. There's so much to talk about. I'm your host, Emma Morton-Turner, an interior stylist and a writer with a ton of experience. I set up InsideStylist.com so I could share all that interiors love with you. So don't forget to head on over to the website for not only the show notes from today's episode, but for links to interior stylists, writers and assistants profiles, and a ton of inspiration. But for now, enjoy the show. When it comes to getting a good night's sleep, there are a few things you need to be considering. Don't drink coffee after 3 p.m. Make the room really dark. Don't use electronic devices 30 minutes before you go to sleep, and ensure your bedding is just right. Today's guest knows all about how to make sure your bedding is spot on for a great night's sleep. More than just a bedding website, the Secret Linen Store has fairness and honesty at the heart of everything they do. And as it's National Bed Month and World Sleep Day today, I couldn't think of a better guest to talk with today than one half of the sister duo who started the Secret Linen Store, Molly Freshwater. Thank you, Molly, for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk to you. So I've looked at all of your About Me page, and it's really interesting. As you set up the Secret Linen Store with your sister Harriet, how did that come about?
I did. Well, I've always worked in home textiles. I always wanted to be a fashion designer until I went to college, and then realised that it was too difficult because you had to cut patterns and grade things. So I quickly realised that bed linen was really easy because it was just squares. So I thought that sounds like a great career. So I've always worked in home textiles. I graduated in textile design. I'm a textile designer. That's my background. So I've worked for various retailers throughout my career, in-house, on the high street for quite a few of the brands that we all know, on our high street. And then I had my daughter, and decided that it didn't work as well working full time. So I set up my own business, which was sourcing bed linen for other retailers, but under their own label. So I did that for 5 years, and that was great. And it fitted really well with having small children. It was perfect for me at the time, but I quickly realised that it wasn't a business that was scalable, and not something that I was in control of either, because I was working with big retailers who sometimes did what they wanted to do. And Harriet came to join me in that business. She just had her children. She was working full time. So she had 2 children under 5, I think, at the time. And I know. And so she thought, so I persuaded her to come and join me in my sourcing business part-time. We always talked about doing something together. We always had this idea, and we're both entrepreneurs deep down, and there was loads of ideas. At one point we talked about having an umbrella company because we couldn't find a nice umbrella, and then children's shoes was another one that we struggled to find nice shoes for our children. But Harriet's background was in marketing and finance within retailers, and we'd actually worked together before in another retailer. So we kind of thought, well, if we're going to do something, then we should do it in the field that we know best, and bed linen was that field. So we had fantastic startup with amazing factories that I had a relationship with. Now we've been working with the same factories for over 20 years. So they're friends, as well as what we call them our factory friends. And I think that's one of the most important things. So we thought we'd give it a go. We had some great backing from our factories and some encouragement. So that was how it started, really.
Really interesting that the backgrounds that you both have are so good together. It's almost like you've thought about it and planned it and also you're 2 of 4, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. That's right. I'm number 1, so I'm the eldest. Awesome. And Harriet is number 3. So Harriet is very, very organised. She's analytical. She thinks about the future. She is good at planning. I like colouring things in, and I like to think about today and maybe tomorrow. So we make a really good team in that sense.
I'm assuming it's really good to work with your sister. I couldn't work with my sister. She's an accountant, so it's very similar.
Oh, there you go.
She's also very creative, but I couldn't work with her. We'd probably end up killing each other, although we get on very well.
Yeah, I think that's the same. I've got 3 sisters, as you mentioned, and we do work with my other sisters in they run one of my sisters runs a slightly different business, and there's definitely a crossover between what we do together. But yeah, it wouldn't work as well if I worked directly with either of the other 2. It just works with Harriet and I. And I think one of the best things is, and I often say this to a lot of people who are starting business with their friends and people or their partner, it's definitely difficult, and it definitely it means that when you're together socially, there's always that underlying, oh my God, did you do this? And has this happened? And it is hard to park the work side of things and put that to one side, which can be a shame, because you're seeing each other socially is not as exciting as it used to be. But I obviously trust her more than anyone in the world. I know that she would always do the right thing for me, and vice versa. And also, you can have an argument with your sister at work, and you don't take it home because you've actually been able to say, actually, I'm not pleased, this has upset me today and this happened. Whereas if you're working with a friend or a colleague, then quite often I think you would just grumble and get cross and take that home. So it's good in that sense that we're able to say, I don't agree with you, or we can have proper disagreements.
That's a really good plus side. Really,
yeah, it is. And then and it doesn't matter what I say, because she'll still hopefully love me at the end of the day, and vice versa. So you can be honest. But it's slightly, now that we're slightly bigger, it has become quite interesting, because selection meetings and big meetings that we had quite often were just the 2 of us. So we would go off and sit on a park bench and select all the fabrics and have our arguments about what ranges we put in, etc. But now we've got a team with us, so we can't argue.
At least not in front of everyone.
We have to be slightly more like, well, what do you think? But it's great, and as I said,
nice problem to have.
Yeah, definitely.
So for anyone who hasn't seen your website, do you want to explain what it is that you do?
Well, I think the best way to describe our secret linen store is that we make beds, and we make bedtime, and we make it brilliant. We always say, both of us, that bedtime is the best time of the day, and that feeling of when you get into that bed, especially when it's all fresh, clean sheets, it's just such a lovely feeling. And creating a business around that is a real pleasure. So we make bed linen and accessories, and duvets and pillows to make beds great, and that's what we set out to do. We like to think that we've got a little bit of something for everybody. We're not all about plain bed linen. We're not all about bright colours. We've got a bit of something for everyone. And my aim is that everybody that comes to our website finds something that they like, and they're not going to like everything because it's very varied. So that's what we do, and we only use the finest sleep ingredients. So we've set out to use the best quality and the best factories that we can find, and in the most environmentally friendly way. So we're working to make sure that as we grow our business, we do as little damage to the planet as possible, and do some great things as we go.
Yeah, that's a lot of why I wanted to have you on, because I really love your ethos. So I've got a question. One of my next questions is that you use a lot of cotton and linen, and is that, I mean, they're beautiful fabrics to have in your bed, but are there benefits to that for sleeping?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, cotton is traditionally, cotton and linen have traditionally been used for making bed linen for hundreds of years, probably thousands. And And there are some unnatural fibres like polyester that can be used for making bed linen, but we decided very early on that we weren't going to use any synthetic fibres. So cotton and linen are, for us, the right place to be. They're both breathable fabrics, they're both natural, and they're both good in terms of, they're both great in terms of durability for bed linen. Linen is more environmentally friendly than cotton. It uses less water to grow it, and the process to get the yarn, to get the from field to fibre, is more environmentally friendly process. But linen is still not as mass produced as cotton or grown as cotton, so it is more expensive fibre. Linen is also, it's more expensive. It has a beautiful drape. It also has cooling properties, so it's great for keeping you warm at night, and also for wicking away temperature and keeping you nice and cool. So it's a great fabric for making bed linen. It also takes colour beautifully, 100% linen, so the light dances across it, and it's just such a beautiful fabric to use. And it's a bit crumpled as well, which we like because we don't need to iron it. So both have huge benefits. Both are durable and so exciting still. I mean, even after 25 years of making bed linen, I'm still excited about the next thing that we can do and the next fibre that we're looking at. But cotton and linen are where we've focused our production on so far, but who knows what's around the corner for that.
Do you know, I think the question running through everyone's mind right now when they're listening will be, do you iron your bedding?
Me, I do.
No, I expected you to say yes.
I do, I do, and I always have, but I iron it probably a little bit less than I used to, and I have converted to 100% linen. I used to be a completely all white cotton, 600 thread count, sateen bed linen person, and now I am a dark green linen on my bed. But I obviously have. Sorry.
Why is that? Why did you switch?
Well, I didn't intentionally. As you can imagine, running a bed linen company, I do have quite a lot of bed linen, and I need to try new things to make sure that I'm happy with the quality and make sure that they feel great. So there has been just a gradual shift from white to colours, but I think that's happened everywhere anyway. I mean, white is still extremely popular colour and will always be in bed linen, but we're definitely seeing that people are reaching for the dirtier colours, the earthier tones, and mixing them with white as well. So I think that we're seeing that things are slightly shifting, certainly from the days when I first started my career and everybody had pristine white iron sheets. We're definitely moving away from that. Well, not moving away, but just there's lots more to offer.
So when people are looking to buy new bedding, what is it that they should be looking out for? What will make their choice the best choice for them?
Well, it really does depend. So what I often say that we should start with colour. So that's the first place to start as to what they would like in terms of, will it fit in with their room? Do they want white, or do they want a colour that fits with something they've got? We do have a swatch service, so we can send out colour swatches if people want to have a look and match it with a wall. So that would be the first place that I would say is have a think about what colour you would like. The second thing to think about is the feel. So the different qualities of cotton and linen feel very different. So if you have a preference as to whether you would like a smooth bed linen, something that you slip into, do you want something that has a bit of texture? Do you like brushed cotton? Do you want your bed linen to feel soft? Then those are the things that you should consider, and then make your choice based around the kind of fabric that's right for you. We do really well with our brushed cottons, which are actually like flannelette.
Cozy.
But again, that's not for everybody. So it really depends on what you want for your bedroom, and also the time of year, and how that's going to make you feel. It does sound complicated, but it's not at all. And I think what people should go for is, to start with, is to look for the colour that they really want for their bedrooms, and think about what they've enjoyed in the past. It might be that you've been to a hotel and you really like the feel of the sheets there, and then we can help you to try and recreate that in your bedroom. We've got a great team on the phone, or we have like a live chat thing, and that's the most frequently asked questions is, I don't know what to choose, but can you help me? And that's what we're there for, is to help advise people. That's what we're here for. But as I said, there is something, we hope, for everybody. So we just need to help you discover what that is, and guide you. And as I said, you can pick out a few swatches that you like, and we can send them to you, and then you can have a look in your own bedroom.
That's such a good idea to do swatches for bedding, because then you can literally pull a whole scheme together. If you're decorating a room, you can literally plan your bedding to fit in with the scheme rather than finding it afterwards.
That's right.
I'm thinking about everyone in my house and how everyone does have a different like for their bedding.
Absolutely.
And just with my daughters, I'm thinking that one has very much a really heavy brushed cotton, and she absolutely loves it. Whereas my other daughter is can you flip it over so it's cold? She likes that cold, crisp cotton sort of thing. I'm not going to go into my husband and we like completely opposite things. So
I'm there as well. I encourage people to mix things on their beds. So I would have, I have got 6 pillows on my bed. But I have 2 of each different design. So I might have some stripes, I might have some brushed cotton, and I might have some plain linen at the front. So I do mix it up as well. And then you can also have that different feel if you want to have the linen and the look of linen, but actually when you go to sleep you want something smoother. Then I just put some pillowcases underneath that are percale, and then you've got both.
I've heard a few people talk about thread counts, and that thread counts aren't always the thing you should go for. Because it used to be it was the big thing, it was the buzzword in bedding, have a really high thread count. Can you explain about that? What do you mean
absolutely.
thread count?
Unfortunately, thread count has become confused over the years, and actually it doesn't mean anything. So the thread count is the number of yarns that are used per square inch of fabric. But however, you could have a 200 thread count fabric that's made with really dreadful yarns, and a 200 thread count fabric that's made with amazing yarns. So they would feel completely different, behave completely differently, look completely differently, yet you could both call them both 200 thread count cotton. So actually it doesn't really mean anything. And I've always said you should touch it and feel it. We've got a new quality which is technically quite a low thread count. It wouldn't be up there in the 1,000 thread count aisles, but it is absolutely beautiful. It feels great. It washes really well, uses less cotton, so why not? So I think that thread count will start to fade away in our choices, and linen has a really, really low thread count because it's really thick yarn, so it's not a question of thread count at all when it comes to 100% linen. So we do a 600 thread count, which is amazing. And I would say that you shouldn't really go way over 600 anyway, because then you get into twisting yarns and are using very fine yarns to enable you to say it's a higher thread count. So our 600, which we do in various different colors, feels thick, feels silky, feels luxurious, and that's what matters really to us. So it's more about how it feels, whether you like the touch. And I would also say to people who were shopping, especially online, because it's really hard because you can't touch it, is to buy a pillowcase and see if you like it, and to compare different qualities of pillowcases and just see whether it's for you or whether you like it or not. We do 2 plain whites that are very similar in thread count. One's 300 and one's 400, but one is softened and laundered, so it's floppy and soft, and the other one is crisp and percale. So the thread count is similar, but they are completely different fabrics. So it's just worth having a feel, see how you get on.
And if you're a person who likes the crisp bed, you're going to go for that one no matter what the thread count, compared to someone who likes it to be a bit more slubby. When you were saying you have 6 pillows, I have different pillows with different fillings as well. So I have a really thin feather pillow, and then I have a pillow that looks nice on top of the hollow. And my husband's allergic to feathers, so we have a double pillowcase so that he's not sneezing all night. I said there was issues. The top one always gets thrown on the floor, and you just have the options then. But I was going to ask you to explain the difference, because there's so many different types of pillows now, and also there's a whole lot of ethical sourcing, and I'm sure that affects the different textures and things that you get. So could you explain about the different you sell duvets and pillows as well as the bedding?
So with regards to duvets and pillows, in terms of being ethical, what we decided that we would do is that we would make to order. And that minimizes the need for holding stock, big dusty warehouses full of stock that might never get sold, and so that the customer can have something that's freshly made. When you've got fillings, you're talking about feathers. The idea of it sitting in a box for months or being shipped from China, it's not appealing to me anyway. So that was our first port of call, to make sure that everything was fresh. So in terms of filling, well, again, it comes down to personal preference. We do Goose filling, which is our natural fill, and then we do a synthetic filling as well, which we offer in 3 different qualities. We have a I call it entry price point level. So we've got something that is with in the natural filling, we have a filling which is feather and down. Feather is the bird has more feathers, so it's cheaper than 100% down, and then we go up in stages to 100% down. With our synthetic fillings, we do 2 different fillings that are both absolutely gorgeous, but one feels slightly more light down and feels slightly softer and is slightly lighter, which makes it slightly more expensive. We're just about to introduce 2 new fillings, which one is in the synthetic and one is in the natural, and they are both environmentally friendly. One of them is made from bottles, so it's plastic recycled into duvets, which is really exciting. It's something that we've been working on for a little while, but I'll be delighted to get that launched, which should be in the next couple of weeks. And then we're also working on a 100% recycled down, so that down will have come from duvets and jackets and other things that have had down in it, and then it's very, very washed incredibly well, and goes through exactly the same process as new feather and new filling, so it will be as fresh, but is recycled. So that we're doing in 100% down, which will be quite a premium product, but it will be absolutely beautiful. So in terms of filling, we do different fill weights, so you can choose whether you want your pillow to be filled in a medium fill or a firm fill. We can also do soft, but we don't have that on our website because we used to, and we found that people were disappointed in a soft pillow quite often. Although they think they want a soft pillow, actually when it comes they don't actually want a soft pillow. So medium and firm work really well for us. So I think the port of call is to decide which kind of filling you'd like, and then decide whether you want it in the higher fill or the medium fill. And as you say, I would mix them up. I have really, really firm pillows as the 2 squares that are on the front, because they're the ones I want to sit up in bed with. I want them to stand up and look plump, but when I'm sleeping I want something a bit softer. So again, with the filling, go for, if it's decorative, if it's there to go on the front, then you can go with feather and down, because that will be plump and fill it up, and then go for down for sleeping on, because that's amazing. I'm a feather person. I do love feather, and it's important to say as well that feathers are not all the feather that we use is a byproduct of the food industry, so it's not, and it's properly sourced, Ecotech registered, so it's still a good choice to make.
That's really interesting that you feel, I love the whole eco side of things and the sustainable side of things. And I'm really interested that you can have pillows filled to your specific requirements. That's brilliant. You literally don't just buy a pair of pillows. I want hard one, he wants a soft one, you're sorted, you get exactly what you want. It's brilliant.
We have done before, we've done extra firm for people that really want it to be like a bullet. We've done really soft pillows. So we love talking to customers about what's right for them. We also do what's called a partner duvet, and again, it's not something that you can just go on to our website and order. We need to advise you and help you, but we can fill one side in a higher tog than the other side. So if you are sleeping with somebody that's incredibly hot, you can have a warm side, they can have a cooler side, and vice versa. So that's a great thing to do as well. And as you said, we're not all the same. We don't all feel the same in bed. We don't all have the same body temperature. So it's a great thing for couples sleeping together to make sure that they've got the right filling and the right warmth for them. My partner always is cold, so I know, with the other way around, I'm sort of half out the bed because I'm like, oh, so hot, and he's putting an extra blanket on him. So
that's great. Well, that's me. That's us. I was literally going to say, without going into too much personal detail, I was going to say I sleep with someone who's hot, but that sounds really inappropriate. My husband sleeps. He sleeps. I know. Hello. He sleeps, and also when this airs, it will be our 22nd wedding anniversary.
Congratulations!
But he will sleep in as little as possible with the duvet, and literally has arms and legs hanging out and about 4 pillows. I have full pajamas all year long. I have the duvet, then I have a blanket on top, and I have an electric blanket, which even in spring now, I still turn on because I like to be really, really warm, and I like to be weighted and heavier. So we should just get one of those duvets and be done with it. But actually, I quite like the whole extra layers and things. So I like the weight as much as the warmth.
Do you have a feather filling on your duvet or a synthetic?
No, synthetic, because he's a bit allergic. So, but after 22 years, we're surviving. It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah.
So another thing, we were talking about how you even your packaging is really ethically sourced. Do you want to share what you do there? Because it's really interesting.
Yeah, from day one, I was adamant that we wouldn't have anything extra. And having worked with high street retailers, I've seen some of the packaging that goes into some of these things. So we didn't have a shelf, so we could strip away everything that wasn't necessary to go into that packaging. We have been round and round and round the houses on the plastic bag. I would love to swap that for something else. If anyone's got any ideas, or anyone is producing something that we can use that is see-through, which is important for our warehouse, then please do get in touch, because I would love to hear from you. We were going to use a potato starch bag, but after doing some research into that, I actually found that was probably going to be worse, and it wasn't going to biodegrade, and if you put it in with your recycling, then it was going to contaminate it all, etc. So we have arrived at a recycled and recyclable plastic bag, which at the moment we feel is the best thing that we can do. We could take, I think other people do take their product out of the plastic and put it into a tissue. That to me is not practical in a warehouse, to be taking white bed linen out of packages. It's also not practical for us to keep plain white duvet covers in boxes in a warehouse without them getting dirty. And I don't feel that we could do that. So that was the first thing that we did. And we don't have anything else in the packet, no card insert, no picture, nothing sort of on the edge. So that's something that's less to go in the bin. So up until about 3 weeks ago, we were actually wrapping all of our bed linen in a canvas undyed ribbon, which was branded, and we had a recycled card on the top which said Secret Linen Store, and it was beautiful, and our parcels looked amazing as they went out. It was all wrapped up beautifully, and it was a lovely parcel. However, when we had a real think and a real look at that, we actually realized that every single one of those cards and that ribbon just went straight in the bin, because it was branded Secret Linen Store. No one's going to want some ribbon that says Secret Linen Store, and the card looked nice, but it didn't serve any purpose other than for the person to look at when they opened the parcel. So we took the decision, I cried a little bit, and we took the decision to get rid of it. And then our ribbon now, which we need to keep the parcel together, and that's important on its journey. So we've taken the ribbon from 4 centimetres down to 2 centimetres, taken our branding off of it, so you can use it again. You can parcel up your parcel for a birthday present, you can use it to tie some onions, you can do whatever you want with it, but it doesn't say Secret Linen Store on it. So I thought, well, you're more likely to use it if you do. Yeah. And we also have taken out, we used to send a little sweetie bag with the invoice inside, and again, we didn't need that. We also used to put a tea bag in all of our orders, which I loved, but we asked our customers, we had some feedback, and people said, I didn't drink the tea, it's not something I wanted. So we had to be really strict and say, if we're going to be saying that we're doing good things, then we have to take these things away. So we have a newspaper that goes into our parcels, which is printed on 100% recycled paper. And that can be burnt, it can be used in the fire, it can be used to wrap presents afterwards. So I feel like that's something that we're giving people loads of information about how to wash their sheets, how to care for their sheets, a little bit about us, and there's some jokes and some crosswords and some fun to be had, recipes. So we feel that that's still quite important, and because we're printing that onto 100% recycled paper, we feel like that's a great thing to do. And then the whole thing goes into a potato sack. So we've always used potato sacks. They are from a potato sack supplier, a farm supplier, which we love, and we've used those again since day one. So, and any tape that we need to use is recycled. So we're doing everything we possibly can.
And we were talking about earlier about sustainable cotton. Is that, I mean, we went to Stylist in general, went to 100% Design last year or the year before when it was open.
Yeah.
Everyone was, this is all sustainable wood, this is all sustainable this. And it's like, is it expected that your products are made from sustainable cottons and linens now?
I don't think it is yet, but it's something that I think is one of the most important things that we can do in the coming years. We have been using responsibly sourced cotton for almost a year now, and we are going to continue to, and we're going to continue to look for environmentally friendly yarns and to keep an eye on what the next thing coming is. And we are looking at a new fibre at the moment that we're hoping to launch later on this year, which is even more environmentally friendly. So I think that people are becoming more and more aware. There are some organisations, there are things out there that people can start to recognise and see on products. So I think that it will happen, and that people will become more and more aware of what they're buying. So I think for us, it's really important that we use the right yarns, sustainably sourced, and also sourced in the correct way in terms of looking after farmers, looking after the whole supply chain, and making sure that we're doing the right thing along the way. It's a huge project. It's a big of huge importance to Harriet and I to make sure that we do things in the right way, but it's not easy and it's not an overnight thing. I mean, I would love to stand in a field of cotton and follow that through to our duvet cover, and that's my aim. One day I will do that.
One day.
But it's a big old wheel, the cotton production process in this world.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of digging to do, but at the moment we feel like we're doing the right thing, we're using the right cotton, and we're going in the right direction, and that's something that Harriet and I are going to invest in the future as well.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed talking to you about this. So I've learned a lot. I didn't know a lot of this was going on. I didn't know you could get recycled down, and just every little step is the step in the right direction. It's really inspiring to listen to. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
My last question is, other than how do I sort my husband out from being hot in bed when I'm cold in bed, is you don't have to answer that. I've
already answered it. You just need to get.
I was going to say, you kind of told me. I'm just going to ignore him. What is next for the Secret Linen Store?
Well, we are working. Well, we're still trying to negotiate our way through the global pandemic, which has obviously thrown us a huge amount of challenges. Our next thing is to get our team back together, and we're doing that. So we're working very hard on growing our team in the right way. We're employing and investing in people, which is great. We are introducing new ranges and new patterns and new fabrics. We're working on a new fibre, as I said. So yeah, we're growing our product range, and we want to be a place where people go to, a place that people feel good about buying from us because of the good things that we're doing. And yeah, continue to do what we're doing in the right way. I think that's where we want to be. We just want to make beds, and want to make beds great. Yeah. So yeah, it's exciting, and we're really enjoying ourselves.
Yeah.
We need to get through this next couple of months.
Yeah. I'm thinking in terms of just getting out of the house. A couple of weeks right out of the house.
Exactly. I actually went yesterday to our warehouse for the first time this year. And saw our stuff. We're testing everybody now when they come in, so it was safe for me to go down there, and it was incredible. It was just, I mean, we've been doing this, talking on Zoom every day for the whole of the year, but yeah, we're really looking forward to getting our team back together and seeing what we can do. And we've got lots and lots of exciting plans and products launching and things to concentrate on. So yeah, it's all good fun.
Well, keep me posted, and I will share everything as and when.
I will, Emma. Thank you for having me. It's been lovely to meet you, and I look forward to World Sleep Day. Is it World Sleep Day?
National Bed Month and World Sleep Day.
World Sleep Day, that's right.
So, whatever you're doing and listening to this, go to bed right now.
Absolutely, and that has been the positive about the pandemic, and as I've said throughout, is we get to go to bed in our own beds every single night. And yes, my bed, I don't know about you, is pretty much my favourite place to be. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you, Molly. It's been really lovely.
No problem, Emma. Nice to meet you. Take care.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Inside Stylist podcast. You can find all the details from today's episode over in the show notes on insidestylist.com. If you enjoyed the show, I'd love it if you would head on over to iTunes and rate and review it. It's the best way to help other people find the show, and I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, bye for now.